Hey, it's Dave from Cast Guitars. So I figured we could take a couple minutes and show you a relatively common problem. Maybe not super common, but common enough that I've seen it a couple times. I've seen it twice on this particular guitar. This guitar belongs to a really good client of ours. It came to us years ago originally after a string change, and then the pickup under the saddle went dead, and he couldn't figure out why. We got it all figured out for him, which I'm going to tell you what it was and how to prevent it. And it's back now because after a string change, he forgot to change the strings the way I told him to, and that caused all kinds of problems. Now, I've also seen other guitars that have this same system in them that have come to me after a string change with this, this bridge pickup not working. So I'll bring the camera a little closer so you can see everything up close as we kind of go through this, but I'll tell you real quickly, this is an Sonic 2 preamp, and it has the Nanomag neck pickup and the Nanoflex under saddle pickup. The neck pickup you don't have to worry about. It's a hard pickup. Never have I had to replace one, never have I had an issue with one. The preamp I've never had an issue with. I've never replaced one of these preamps. But this Nanoflex pickup under the saddle in the bridge, I've replaced enough of them to be concerned about it. And they're great pickups. They sound great. They work well. And you'll see, you'll know when it goes, because you have a little, on your preamp here, you have a little slide switch, which is the equivalent to your pickup switch on an electric guitar. So all the way over to, if you're looking at it this way, all the way to the front of the guitar is your Nanoflex pickup. And it's nothing. It's dead. It's dead. Center is blend, and you'll hear it now. Everything's loose, but you'll hear it come through the amp. And then all the way towards the back of the guitar is just the neck pickup. So the only thing you're hearing on this guitar is the neck pickup. Also, when you use the tuner on the preamp, it'll work great as long as you're in that neck position. But once you go all the way to the bridge position, you'll get nothing because this pickup is dead. So what happens with these is, let's bring the camera in and we'll get a little closer so you can see. Okay, so now that you're in closer, you can get a little bit of a better look at it. Here's the brand new pickup. It's just, I mean, it kind of looks like every other undersaddle pickup, except this one is flexible. So this is a multi-layered transducer sheet. That's basically what this pickup is made out of, instead of a hard crystal type pickup. So it does have some flex to it. Now, you don't want to take this and kink it. You want to, if you have to bend it, it has to be a gradual bend. It sits under the saddle like every other under saddle pickup, and then runs over and plugs right into the preamp. It's a relatively simple system. However, if you get pressure on your saddle that's uneven, or if the bottom of your saddle was cut and it was cut uneven, or if your saddle's sitting crooked, I've even seen times where you'll run into 2 or 3 strings that you'll hear come through the amp and the other ones you won't because of uneven saddle pressure. That's more rare than just a completely dead pickup, but I have seen it. So there's the preamp, and you can see the slide switch. You can hear the neck pickup blend. You're only hearing the neck pickup. And there is where the Nanoflex comes in, and you hear nothing. So that Nanoflex is definitely dead. When you change these strings on your own, I would say, what I would do is, I think what happens is most people pull all the strings off, and you know, on an acoustic guitar, if that saddle's not set in there tight, it'll flop out. And when that happens, you know that 9 times out of 10, this just kind of goes boom, or pops out or whatever, and people jam it back in and jam the saddle back over it. And I think that's when the damage occurs. So, piece of masking tape on the bottom and the top edge of the saddle will keep the saddle in place and hopefully prevent any kind of issues that you might have. Strings come off, new strings go on, and you should be good. That's what I would recommend doing. I don't very often do just a string change, so it's a little different when I do it. And I usually will pull the saddle just to make sure there are no kinks and make sure everything's sitting the way it should and that the bottom of the saddle is flat and everything. I don't recommend you do that unless you absolutely know what you're doing, because if it's working, don't mess with it. I've changed enough of these now that I say leave them alone as long as they're working. So there you go. Hope this helps, and I hope it prevents anybody that has this system from having to go through this, because like I said, this guitar's done it twice. I have a couple other customers that I've done this exact same thing on. So, you know, just something to be aware of.